In this day and age, buying a property is probably one of the top exciting things you're going to end up doing. But it's also one of the most nerve-wracking things you're going to do in life. And imagine if this is your first time doing it. Hi, my name is Raymond Aguilar, and if you're looking for information about buying your first property in Ontario, you've come to the right place. I particularly work with a lot of first-time home buyers. I've seen all things stressing them out and all the hiccups that will come along the way. So in this video, we're gonna break down my easy process that you can follow and also have answers to some of the popular questions that I wish I knew when I was a first-time home buyer. First step is getting a pre-approval. The reason why this is the first step is because it gives you an idea if you can even buy the home in the first place. If you skip this and start searching and making offers, you're gonna put yourself in a situation where you're going to end up wasting your time, and it could potentially affect your own buying journey emotionally. In this stage, after a third-party professional assesses your financials, you will be able to understand and know how much you can afford, or at least have an idea on the steps that you need to take to get the preferred amount. Now, during this step, one of the most common questions that will come up is the minimum down payment. I am going to break it down so it's a lot easier to understand. If you're a first-time home buyer, or if this will be your primary resident, then you are eligible to put down the lowest amount. But depending on the purchase price, the minimum percentage can change. In Ontario, you can put down as low as 5% if the purchase price is below $500,000. Now, if you purchase anything between $500,000 to $1 million, then the structure is a little bit different. It will look like this: 5% to the first $500,000, then 10% to the remaining balance up to $1 million. So if you're looking for an $800,000 purchase price, the first $500K is 5%, so that's $25,000. The remaining balance of $300,000 is 10%, which is $30,000. So for an $800,000 purchase price, your minimum down is $55,000. I made a simple breakdown so it's easier to get an idea without doing the math. Take a screenshot and adjust accordingly. Also, if you're purchasing a property over $1 million, or if purchasing a second property or an investment property, then your minimum down payment will be 20%. Keep in mind, if you are putting down anything below 20%, you are going to pay the mandatory mortgage insurance, and it will be added to your mortgage. The way the calculation on the insurance will depend on how much down you put. If you put 5 to 9%, the insurance will be around 4% of the mortgage. 10 to 14, it'll be around 3.1%. And 15 to 19, it will be 2.8%. Now on to the next step, and it's hiring a real estate agent. Yes, you can buy a home without one, but in this video, it's catered to the process of having a real estate agent working for you. If you plan to buy a property without your own realtor, unless that property is for sale by the owner, that other agent is almost 100% advocating for the seller. Now, in this stage, you have to treat this as a business transaction. You need to look for a realtor that aligns with your needs and wishes. But also you need to be able to trust that realtor and that they have the best interest at hand before theirs and the sellers. Ask about their availability, their knowledge about the location and the types of property, their transparency of the contracts, and their plan for contingencies to protect you. Now, during this step, questions that usually come up is, are there any incentive programs for first-time home buyers in Canada? There are, and we'll go ahead and go through them. The not so popular take is the incentive program that gives you down payment help. But it's like the government is providing a second mortgage to help with the down payment. Now, this is only eligible in Ontario if you are buying in Toronto. The government will loan you 5 to 10% of the down payment if you are getting a pre-construction, and 5% for the resale. But the drawback is that they have a piece of the cake. They have a piece of your equity in the future. So technically, they own part of the property. Now, the most notable incentives that everyone knows is the land transfer tax rebate. If you are purchasing any property in Ontario, you will be charged a provincial land transfer tax of the purchase, and you are eligible to get $4,000 off that tax. But if your purchase is in Toronto, you actually get taxed double, one provincial and one municipal. But you also get more than double of the rebate. It's about $8,475,000 of the land transfer tax. And of course, the last incentive is that you get to use your own RRSP up to $35,000 without getting taxed on the withdrawal, and you can use that towards your down payment. Your realtor should be able to discuss these incentives with you and provide information and clarification on how to take advantage of them. Step 3 comes the fun part. This is where you start searching and seeing homes. Now, depending on your realtor, there are a lot of apps and resources that can be given to you to fully optimize your search. If you are looking within the GTA, your realtor should give you access to the Toronto Real Estate Board app. This app is the most up-to-date and it's the same system that realtors use. During this stage, some of the things you guys can ask and discuss will be wish list. What are the must-haves in your search? And does that align with the location and price point you got from step 1? If it does, then keep going. If it doesn't, you should be trying to strategize on adjusting a few things. Look for expired deals, deals that fell through, or listings that are over the average days on market. These type of searches can get you a property under market value, but depending on what market you're in. There are times where you can get a killer deal, or sometimes even the most rundown house will sell way over asking. Another popular discussion in this step is the deposit versus down payment. Make sure that your deposit is easily accessible. A few first-time homebuyers get this mixed up and think that their RRSP, which is part of their down payment, can be used as the deposit. The thing is, you actually cannot get your RRSP until you have an actual purchase agreement. And for you to get that, you need to already have given them a deposit. Now, before we go to step 4, if you find this video helpful in any way, please like and subscribe so I can get an idea if these videos are useful. Now on to the next stage. If you find a home and you are ready to make that offer, at this point, the conversation about what to put in the offer should have been discussed by your realtor. Your main objective in this stage isn't just to get the property, but it's to make sure that you are being represented and protected on your end. So the conditions that your realtor should be putting the offer are as follows. Your financing condition. Now, if step 1 was done properly, this condition can be discussed and waived, but be very clear. Your realtor should not be making that decision for you. The bank or lender of your choosing should have things in writing that you are approved for the property before waiving or fulfilling this very important condition. The second one is home inspection. The home inspection condition is a very important condition if you suspect that this property might have some issues. And even if you think that it won't, having that condition will not only give you protection, but it can give you a negotiating power when something does come up. The last one is very important for condo buyers. It's the status certificate condition. This condition can give you and your lawyer an idea on how the condo is doing financially. Like, does a condo have enough reserve funds for big emergency repairs, or is the current condo unit owner in default of their payment? Now on to step 5. Congratulations, you finally purchased your home. But if you put in some conditions, this is a crucial time for your third-party vendors to do their due diligence and make sure that you are getting a property that you can financially afford and understand if the property is structurally okay. The question that gets asked in this step is usually, what happens if the conditions are not satisfied or fulfilled? Well, if your realtor put these conditions in place, then you should have nothing to worry about because you can get your deposit back. But it also means that you need to go ahead and reassess and take a step back. Or you can use these conditions to negotiate for a better price. If the conditions are fulfilled, then you officially are now legally binded to fully close on the home. Step 6 is your final step. Prior to home closing, be very careful on what you do with your financials. Ask your bank or mortgage broker what you can do and can't do. Also in this step, try to go ahead and reach out to the utility companies and have things set up for the closing day. There are also moving companies to be contacted and scheduling the elevators if needed. The questions that usually ask in this stage is, when do we get the keys? Majority of the time, the transaction should be completed no later than 6 p.m. or on the end of the business day. Your lawyer should have the keys, or the keys should be in a secured lockbox for your realtor to give to you. If there was any bank outage or any issues on the closing date, this should be communicated with your lawyer at the earliest time, and it's possible for it to be pushed to the next day. The very best thing is to have a closing date in the middle of the weekday and away from holidays to avoid any interruptions. There will be a lot more questions that will come up along the way that I have not discussed. Buying a property is a process. You may have to take a few steps back at times and reassess. Leave in the comments below some of the questions that you think are very important. And again, if you are in the middle of the buying process, I wish you good luck and a lot of patience. Please like and don't forget to subscribe.